Hey, Nolegs.
Hello.
All right, we're doing a post-game discussion on this epic game. I think this was definitely one of the most memorable games of Old World that I've played.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to start it with. Really, thanks for the great game. It wasn't always easy with traveling, with my computer dying in the middle and everything. But definitely one of the most enjoyable game I played. It could have been a little bit more enjoyable if I won, of course, but it was very good, and it's a rare thing actually, at least in my experience, that the late game is so dynamic.
Yeah,
So maybe it happened because we made mistakes, but it was still super enjoyable. So thanks for the game. I'll say it again, but I want to
yeah.
start with that.
No, absolutely, and thank you. And thanks for your patience, especially with some of my travel. And I think I was so heartbroken after this attack here did not go well. And I think it took me like 2 or 3 weeks to make another move. So
All right.
thank you for your
Uh,
patience there, because I think just the eyes of, oh yeah, I'm going to capture this city, so I'll just let him finish the Circus Maximus to, oh my God, where did all these units come from?
There was a little bit of hubris. I was just looking back at those turns. I
Yeah,
haven't, so for you viewers, I haven't completely rewatched the whole game. I'm still on the part that I published actually, so part 8, just after this counterattack. And yeah, that was a cool moment because I managed to mind trick you a little bit and I live for this stuff. So yeah.
yeah, that miner did not anticipate that. But yeah,
Uh,
let's go ahead.
no, no, I was going to let you direct the conversation.
Sure.
Uh,
Yeah, let's start talk about the beginning. So I was doing the juggling trick that is now nerfed with Doctrine.
mm,
Probably fortunately nerfed, because definitely getting
yes,
temples that early is way too strong.
that's
Uh,
exploitive for sure,
yeah, yeah. But
yeah.
I let you know that going into the game, so we were like, I'm testing a
Hmm, hmm.
strategy, so we were cool with that. We want to see how broken it was. I think it kind of evened out by the end, but it certainly gave me an enormous cultural advantage
Uh,
in my capital and my second city.
I definitely think it's a super strong advantage, and I'm happy we got it nerfed.
Yeah,
Although eventually, I mean, you still have a solid chance of just getting it randomly, so
yeah. I think
that would
it's
still be super powerful. But yeah.
yeah. I mean, Egypt can definitely do it with just random chance,
Hmm.
because you found clerics and then found statesmen. I think it's 1 in 5 or 1 in 6 odds, so not terrible and amazing if you land it. So it's just
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
guaranteed. So
Yeah, that's definitely awesome. I don't want to dip too much into my consideration about balance because it's
yeah,
part my job. It's not my prerogative to say all things should be. So,
yeah, yeah. And
yeah, but
I think it's worth keeping in mind that Old World is primarily a single player game.
mhm.
And I'm very grateful personally for competitive mode and the great cloud play, because it enables a lot of dynamic and fun gameplay that I personally enjoy. I
Uh,
really love the multiplayer of this game. Um,
well, I love it very much too, as you know. But yeah, I think to be fair, it's uh, at least it can be discussed in many ways. It makes sense to privilege fun over
yeah,
balance sometimes. There are some abilities like well, you know, I don't consider route to be quite a fair ability on a random unit, for instance, because we
yeah,
discussed it a bit. Or something like, let's say, hero launch offensive
yes,
can just break combat, or orators.
yeah. Orators are getting tuned down.
Yeah,
Uh,
they're finally getting what was
still
coming to
think
them, I think.
they're very strong even at one
Uh,
order per city.
yeah, of
So
course, just a plus
like
40
here
opinion, just
we're what,
the everything.
22 cities here, so I'd lose 22 orders, so I would only have 100, and like it's 106, like 114, like that's not a big deal, right? Like for 136 next turn. So yeah, I mean,
Definitely. I have to say, I'm not seeing your screen at the moment,
oh,
so I'm not
okay.
sure if you are broadcasting to Discord as well, or
I
if I should
am.
just tune in.
Yeah, I think you just need to tune in
Uh,
Discord. Try
let
that
me
again.
let me check.
Yeah.
Because I see your icon. Let me see. Oh, yes.
Okay,
Yes,
you can
yes.
see now.
I'm just globally incompetent, that's all.
No, no worries. Yeah, so let's talk about starting families. I obviously was doing the cleric sages thing and then went
Mhm.
riders to have a military family. Talk me through your choice. The rider start on Persia, which I haven't seen for a long time.
All right. So the basics, like picking Persia skimmer, was kind of a meme thing, a throwback
Hmm.
to our first multiplayer game. And the skimmer is still an excellent start, of course. So
Yes.
it's still the same with the orders per war and the orders for legitimacy and all that.
Hmm.
So I didn't record turn by turn my beginning, but I definitely burnt legitimacy early. I think 3 times
Yeah.
to maximize the value of my scouts, which definitely I think made my expansion early easier than yours because I could essentially scout and grab landmarks bonuses with one scout,
Yep.
even if we played without runes,
Yeah.
and keep another to harvest culture super quickly for Pasa. Oh, well, I didn't bring it to legendary, of course, but I got developing quite quickly. And some of the wheat tiles and grains north of my capital,
Yeah.
which was quite valuable as well to be able to just pay for settlers, essentially.
Yeah, you did a great job with harvesting early as well, really taking advantage of that Persia bonus. It was a
Yeah, I
very.
do.
Go ahead.
No, I do think it's quite valuable. I didn't quite resign myself to making a farm right at the beginning, I think, because I really tend to just make farms on grain, which is a mistake.
Yeah.
I'm paying for it in another game at the moment. I mean, if you don't have any growth or food resource you can do from the start, you probably should still start with a farm. So
Yeah, no, I definitely missed the very low food start and did not realize, and that really slowed my development. I think I was stuck on two cities for way too long.
mhm,
Um, yeah, it was a very low food start. I think the only food was this pasture, which was locked behind husbandry.
mhm.
Um,
So in terms of family, I think
yeah,
I wanted to have the insurance of getting uh, my unique unit, being able to get my unique unit in my capital at least, because I
hmm,
didn't see horses.
yeah,
So from the starting position, so I went riders for that. I think I didn't quite get how valuable it is to found clerics capital,
yeah,
like from the start. I definitely understand that now, but it wasn't the case beginning of October when we started this
yeah,
game. I thought that I knew I would be sorely behind in science because, as you said, you announced that you were going for
yeah,
the doctrine trick, and I wanted to do something else. And kind of from the start, I intended to actually try to take you by surprise, essentially.
hmm,
So to aim for a timing that would come before. Well, I had the obvious read, right? I'm playing Alcaraz, is going for
yep,
artifacts.
yeah. Shockingly,
You didn't do that, so we will come to it.
yeah,
But yeah, that was the idea with riders. Also, the riders, I wanted to go back with the skimmer thing, so the
hmm,
double scouts from the
yep,
beginning, and riders grant you that. So it
yeah.
kind of make my clerics play less potent. Of course, doctrine is the big part, but not having the religion right from the start, starting to spread right from the beginning, getting a monastery earlier and all that, it still damaged, I think, my development a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can definitely do clerics third, or even second city.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if your city has like ore or something, it becomes very challenging, I think, to found clerics, just because you're like, or I don't want to make this into a cleric city.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm interested. I mean, personally, I always choose statesman as well for Persia, so I've been
Yes,
dropping per
that was
like,
another mistake. I think I should probably have gone. Well, essentially, I wanted the double scout, so which
yeah,
meant rider. So that was old school and a bit obsolete of a
yeah,
build right from the beginning. And after that, with those 4 pearls in my second city, it was very hard to. I mean,
yeah,
hunters can be a trap for that.
yeah. No, I
In the
mean,
next build, you see the 4 resources, you
yeah,
get you feel like you have to,
No, I mean that was
and
a
you
forced
don't,
hunter stuff.
but
So,
it's a mistake that's easy to do. So that's what I picked. Definitely,
yeah,
I should have picked only one military family and wait for
yeah,
statesmen and clerics.
yeah. I
But
think
there you go.
with the upcoming hunter changes, so that they don't get sea resources, only get the hunting resources, which makes more sense.
Yeah,
I
but
think
that's
it's a
yeah.
more interesting trade off between rider and hunter. Although sentinel is still really really strong, the 20% strength that they
Uh,
get in their own
yeah,
territory, and that made it impossibly hard to break in.
it's very hard. It's good, but I value saddleboard more
Yeah,
because
for the
uh,
flank.
uh, yeah, no, yeah, I quite like the flank. Of course, it works better on a mounted unit as well. And Sentinel, if I was planning to attack
Right.
actually this game,
Sentinel doesn't help you if you're
so
attacking.
and
So
and then Sentinel doesn't help. So it's good to
yeah,
have, and I try to make my range unit in my intercities and all that,
yeah.
but that wasn't really the reason I went under. It's just like I focused on right. There's 4 pearls. There's my
Hmm.
economy, and
Yeah,
Samarkand was pulling 300 money or
yeah. I'm
something like.
surprised you didn't get lighthouse because it feels like this is just screaming for lighthouse. With
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I made plenty of idiotic moves and
no, no,
mistakes
it's
because of
okay.
that, but
I say
yeah.
all this with love. So
No, no, no. I know, but that wasn't yet a decision at that time.
yeah,
Let's
let's talk
keep
early
moving.
game scouting. So you had amazing visibility. I think I was like didn't have much visibility at turn 30, and you
Yeah,
had the
yeah,
entire map at turn 30.
yeah.
But expansion direction wise, I went south first. So my initial cities were here, and then like my hunter seat was here until someone
Hmm.
took it from me, or sorry, not hunter, but rider seat, till it flipped, and now this randomly became the seat. But this was actually the original seat before it got occupied by certain Persians. But you went north, right? And so that
Yeah.
got you these beautiful mountains. There weren't very many mountains. The
Hmm.
stone was
Hmm.
pretty tight, honestly.
Yeah.
But you went north, but that meant you didn't really get this city. You never got this city online, for example.
Yeah, I
Um,
have to register a complaint on that because I took like 2 notes during watching the game,
mhm.
and one was about you were mentioning, I think it was turn 50 or 60, so I'm quite a ways away now. You were finding out about the marble sites in the north
Yes.
and saying, all right, due to chains or scouting patterns, not exploring them first and all that. And I was checking my vision and your vision on that turn, and it's not scouting patterns, it's scouting. Like you didn't scout essentially.
Yeah,
Like
I
there's
definitely
no rune
understand.
on the map, and well, I understand the logic, right? You were using your orders quite efficiently for other stuff. So,
No, I
that was,
completely screwed. I messed up the orator strategy. Like normally, you have a lot more cities down, and that gives you orders, and then
mm-hmm,
you can scout freely.
mm-hmm,
So I definitely messed up my opening very badly. But yeah, it was inexcusable to not know about this marble. And this marble, like this is an incredibly high priority city with 3 marble. Like you need to
yeah,
get this
it's
city up
it,
as quickly as
it's good,
possible. And there's
yeah.
marble here as
So
well. Like oh my, like so much marble.
I think
Uh,
essentially what I did on the first few turns was I sent one scout south of Persia.
yeah.
I spent like one turn buying orders,
Hmm.
harvesting all 3 culture resources because
Yep.
there's lavender, gems,
Yeah.
and salt right there. So it was
Yep.
45 culture in a one turn.
Yep.
And after that, I sent this scout mostly to your side.
Yeah.
So
Get those
I didn't
landmarks.
really see even Atakwana,
Yep.
southeast of Parsa. I realized that I had a free site there,
Yeah.
like on turn 10 or something like that. And my
That's
other
better.
scout,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, that's better than me in some games where I just forgot about the free site until turn 40, where I'm like, oh no, this is where.
Yeah, I mean, that happens to everyone, I guess, but maybe
Yeah.
not Frederick, but
Yeah.
Frederick just doesn't forget stuff, but
Yeah.
I do. So, and my other scout went north because I had because basically I was thinking I thought about food from the start essentially,
Yeah.
and when I saw there's a pair of wheat tile, and I saw
Yes.
the southern one, and I went that way to harvest the wheat. So my
Yeah.
second scout went straight up north, harvest those wheat tiles, the wheat and barley,
Yeah.
And then went over and found about the
The
marble tiles.
marble. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
I just did not scout very well. I mean, I think my critical error in the mistake was just in the beginning was not understanding how food constrained it was. Usually
mhm,
maps have a lot of food, and here
yeah.
I mean, these were all pearls and dye. There was no no
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
seafood, right?
No
Like
seafood at all. I
no
think there's
fish.
like
Yeah,
one fish in the north, but
yeah, it's
that's
like
what I.
way over
Uh,
here. There's some crabs
mhm.
just chilling. Like other than
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
there's no fish. It's all pearls and dye, which is great for money, but terrible for feeding
Mhm.
your people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
but I had trouble making settlers as well.
yeah,
Not as much as you, because I was missing growth, but I
yeah,
wasn't really missing food as
food.
much
Yeah,
because I had a chance to harvest. I even considered hunting at one point,
in
uh,
considered what? Sorry.
doing a hunt in
Ah,
Samarkand.
yeah, yeah. The hunt is actually surprisingly strong. Like it's a nice
Yeah,
amount of food.
I thought
Um,
about it too late. I was trying to cut into the cost of the Circus Maximus because the
yeah.
600 food was still hard to pay for at that
Yes.
stage.
Yeah.
And I think I ended up not doing that. I just had plenty of monies because of Padana, because
Yeah.
pearls and fishes and stuff like that. But yeah, I considered a hunt, and I think that might be a mistake I did actually because the number of bonus cards I picked is actually accurate. I picked the bonus food. I
Yeah.
picked a bonus chariot just to speed up an ambition for mounted units.
Yeah.
Because only Parsa could make mounted units, and I didn't want to mess up the legacy.
Yeah.
I picked the free Palton, and that I mean, picking the free food is something I thought about, and I don't really regret. But having to pick free units didn't make sense. And if my tech was, I wish my tech was, let's say, 10 turns ahead. Well, maybe
Yeah.
not 10, but something like maybe 6 turns that I spent on getting a bonus chariot or a bonus Paltron that I could have
Yeah, I
gotten.
mean, those units, I
Not
find
like it.
units always to be very situational. Sometimes you just need a unit and there's no
Hmm.
choice. But like, unless you really need the unit, you
Hmm.
shouldn't pick the unit. The
Yeah.
free Maceman card is particularly interesting because I think it comes out of Portcullis, which
Yep.
is also very handy because that's far, far away from actual Maceman generally. Like, you don't usually have Phalanx and Steel sometimes. So you
Hmm.
can get a Maceman much earlier, which can be very handy. But other than that, like apart from like the free unique unit, if you're trying for like a unique unit rush timing or something, I find most of the free unit cards to be underwhelming. Although free worker can sometimes
Hmm.
be situationally good. The food card though,
Really? You go for the free walker?
I
I
don't
almost
usually go
never
for it.
use it.
I don't usually go for it, but sometimes if your capital is of a family
Hmm.
and you don't have any other cities of that family nearby because they're far away,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like you usually don't have tempo to build a second worker in your
Yeah,
capital.
situationally, I think everything can be good, but for I tend to rate the free walker as one of the.
Yeah, it's definitely low, but like sometimes like generally your capital is going to be building settlers
Hmm.
until it switches to whatever it's doing, whether it's military or civics production or science production.
Hmm.
But yeah, speaking of science, I ran a lot of inquiries. I ran 11 inquiries in the city
Yep.
and I think 7 in this city, so 18 inquiries.
Yes.
So that's a lot of science. You
Yes.
didn't, I think you ran one inquiry
Yeah.
in the city here, if I'm
Yeah.
right? And your science graph is pretty good. Like
Yeah. I think it was out of spite. I don't like rushing inquiries, so I don't know if you rushed any
I
actually. I
rushed a
think I saw
bunch.
you rushed a
I
few
definitely
with
rushed a
orders.
bunch.
Hmm.
Let's see, I've rushed 6 times here, but
Hmm.
some of those were Dromons. Four
Hmm.
times with money. Some of those were Dromons on count. Some of those, but maybe like 4 or 5 rushes.
Hmm.
Nothing too. It gets really expensive order wise very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean,
I,
I was going for the double inquiry pump strategy
I, I,
essentially.
I have to catch up on what Frederick's doing with science, but I
Yeah.
wasn't that convinced with inquiries
They're
rushing.
strong, but like, tell me about. So where did your science come from?
Specialist and urban specialist in particular.
The urban
I had
specialist. Let's peek into
some
Parsa
decent
here.
I had some decent wisdom
Yeah.
on Spymaster, on
Hmm.
my leader, even my
Yeah.
queen that well recently died.
Hmm.
Became a scholar, zealot, but was a scholar originally, was pulling 15 science, which is not awesome, but it's significant still.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I think from what we checked, checking the ranking at the end of the game,
Yeah.
I didn't have that many more specialists than you did, but I had way more urban specialists.
Yes. Yeah,
So
you
yeah.
had incredibly more urban specialists, I think double my numbers or something like that.
Mhm.
56
Uh,
specialists in total. But let's see here very quickly. 24, 27. Yeah, 33 urban specialists versus my 13. So,
mhm.
yeah. And each of those urban specialists with Constitution is an extra science point. So you've got 20 there. You also got Museum for the city science, which is very
Yep.
nice. Um,
Mhm.
so, yeah, I definitely think that there is a play, especially I think the big thing that's changed is discontent now goes up so much more slowly than it did when we started this game. Like
Indeed.
you're never going to see city values this high on the great ever again. Like this game started before.
Mhm.
Like that actually changes things a lot because that means you're not going to get into higher discontent levels, which means since discontent penalizes science production per level, if this city were only level 2 discontent, then that would be minus 10%. So you gain 15% science basically for free.
Yeah.
And you can do cool things with assigning a high wisdom governor as well.
Mhm.
Um, yeah,
So,
although your
so yeah,
governor,
essentially, the way I started to think about it, I think
yeah,
in the middle of this game, because
hmm,
originally I was thinking, all right, I'll have to do inquiries.
yeah,
I didn't want to rush them, but I thought I'd make inquiries, and in the end, I made only one,
yeah,
because I had my regent scholar in the city, and all right, why not? But if you think about it,
hmm.
inquiries are really, well, become interesting, I think, on the
They
strong, on strong.
they come on very late, right? There's not much
Hmm.
point doing one until strong, I think,
Yeah.
just because the cost too much civics for what you get.
Hmm.
And generally, you want to build up the city anyway, so you can get poets or stonecutters or scribes or
Yeah.
monks or whatever it is to power your inquiry pump here. Like
Whatever your drug
yeah,
of
yeah,
choice
yeah,
is. Yeah.
right, yeah. So you need time to build all that up,
Mhm.
um, and then you can go to town with inquiries after that.
Yeah. So the way I started to think about it, and it's not a theory, right? It's not something I completely thought through or tested or checked
Hmm.
how it performed. But essentially, a strong inquiry is 120 civics,
Yeah,
which at the beginning of the game is essentially 3 urban specialists. So it's
yeah,
not quite because it's scaling.
yeah.
But if we're talking apprentice, and even in the mid game, it's probably 2 specialists.
Sure.
And these 2 specialists are +4 science, +6 with constitution,
Yep.
+8 if you are sage, and they have other benefits.
Yeah.
They will help with everything essentially. And an
Yeah.
officer is always good to have, even if my cities are not always making military units. For instance,
Hmm.
Prostasia was really not made to be a military city. That's my cleric seat.
Yes.
But it had, I think, all 4 officers at the end,
Yeah.
so no elder officers. But
Yeah.
there are still quite a few urban specialists, and they're pumping science.
Yeah.
And if I'm not using the city to make military units, well, that's training to my stockpile. And actually, I valued the training in itself
Yeah.
quite a bit to upgrade, to force march, to especially this game was quite mobile. I don't know
Yeah.
how many. I'd like a stat to see how much training I spent for marching units, but
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
You had a zealot leader for a long time? Did you use zealot rushing with state religion with training?
yes, I did. Uh, Originally, actually, it was the fateful turn when
Hmm.
you attacked Samarkand,
109. Yeah.
didn't quite take it. Well, you wanted you wanted it for yourself. I understand
Yes.
now, but still, you were at the end of your movement essentially with your swords. After crossing the
Yeah.
seas, you could
Yep.
attack
They
a
couldn't go
little
much
bit, but
further. Yeah.
not quite get there. And on that turn, I knew that I was hoping, and I thought I had recorded that because I remember speaking about it. I was hoping that you'd move in essentially because
Hmm.
the land north of Samarkand is open territory.
Yes.
So it's much better for my cataphract archers and my
Yeah.
longbows than the land around Para, which is
Yes.
urban and forests and all that.
Yeah.
So it was easier to fight there essentially.
Yeah. Terrain
And
matters so much in Old World.
yeah, and I wanted to. Okay, so the border plan with the mine was entirely planned, but
Yeah.
originally when the turn came to me, I think I could bring back 6 units.
Hmm.
Uh, Two because there were camel archers,
Yeah.
so they had an extra fatigue points, and
Yeah.
I had like 3 longbows that I could bring back without force march, and
Hmm.
I had only enough training for 2 force march.
Right. Not
So
quite enough. So
yeah, so I could I think I could kill like 5 units, something like that, and I could zock a few more. So it would still have been painful.
yeah,
But
but I had like another array of swordsmen ready to go here. They were
yeah, I know. You see my scout in the north,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
every turn
That's
I was spending the 4 orders
poke
to
in and
check what
out.
was happening on the coast and come back to my forest. So
Should have
it
chopped that
was
forest.
essentially my troops, my forward troops were not quite trapped,
Yeah.
but it wouldn't have been a devastating counterattack. And to be fair, it wasn't a devastating counter-strike. I think it affected you morally, mostly because you thought it was already done at that
Yeah,
point.
I thought that was winning the game there. I saw myself
Yes.
taking Samarkand after you finished the Wonder, being like, "Oh, this is glorious," etc., etc. Instead, it was
But
like,
I
"Oh
think
man, I lost so many units."
it's more mind thing because actually
Yes.
you still had an advantage at that time.
Yeah.
But at the beginning of that turn, I had an event that allowed me to. Well, one of the options, the first one I picked was plus 12 orders.
Yeah.
That was awesome in my situation, trying to respond to an attack and all that.
Yeah.
And I played the turn. It wasn't super satisfying once or twice, and only
Hmm.
after that, uh, I reconsidered the turn entirely and that event, and that's when I saw that I had also an option to pick a zealot because that's not something I would
Yeah.
do.
Normally, you're not going
Second
to pick a
zealot,
zealot.
going from
So
scholar to zealot in the middle of a game, lose
yeah.
wisdom, lose whatever. Uh, but actually, I realized that getting 1 extra fatigue point on all my units for that
Hmm.
turn, just for that turn, it was worth it, definitely.
Yeah. It solves a
So
lot
that's
of
what I
problems.
did, and it helped make it a harsh blow, let's say, on your
Yeah.
forces that were, yeah, I could inflict a lot of painful damage and force you to retreat to Para, and actually you retreated way back.
Yeah. I didn't think I could
Uh,
hold Para either.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. So yeah, it was easier to hold because I had only a few swords at that time,
yeah.
but yeah, it wasn't a good position. It would keep you overextended, hard to heal there because it wasn't quite captured and all that. So
Yeah. Makes sense.
mm,
Yeah, and it was a beautiful attack, or counterattack rather. And
mm.
I totally did not realize. I saw this miner 2 or 3 turns when I had an agent here before the agent moved somewhere else, and I saw a miner getting. I didn't even realize which ore it was improving, and I didn't
I, I'm
didn't think.
amazed. I'm amazed that it worked because I saw that because I'm an OCC player at heart, so I
Yeah,
see those things. I just see it, and when I went for that city, I had seen the 2 miners because of the mirror map,
yeah,
and I knew that I wanted both because I would get the borders and collapse it and all that.
yeah,
And I still went for the forward one first because
yeah.
that
You
was
were
one of my grievous
attacking.
mistake. When
Yeah,
I
you
was
were.
poised to attack, I realized you had Dromons,
Yes.
that I was late with like just my triremes. You had only one, and I somehow couldn't let go of the idea.
Yeah, I mean,
And
you had
I
scouted the
still
Dromon,
positioned my
so
trireme to come, but I saw the anchoring range of your Dromons. I had an agent in Quish, so I know that the second one was coming and all
yeah,
that. And I still continued to push.
yeah,
Privileged gave my preference to the forward miner rather than the back one, which was way more conservative and defensive
yeah.
as a position. First, securing that my unit could move to and fro before trying to attack. I
Yes.
knew that you had those Dromons. I was seeing a battle line, and I was guessing that you were going for cohorts at that point
Hmm.
because it was definitely not stirrup and all that.
Yeah.
but I couldn't let go of my opportunity to attack. I had started the game with the idea that I would go for timing and take you by surprise,
Yeah,
and it clouded my. It was clear that it wasn't really going to work. Even my anchored trireme, I just one tile to disembark.
yeah,
And putting one unit there, I couldn't disembark, so it was
yeah. I
stupid.
felt like you could have anchored much more aggressively and like
Mhm.
could have. I don't like. I could have killed one ship, but I did not have the ability to kill two
Yeah,
ships. And if
I
you
was, I
anchor,
was, yeah, yeah, I was double idiot because your Drummond, the one that was anchored, was in the
yeah,
fog for
yes, it
me.
was here.
I
Yeah,
hadn't cleared the tile,
this
and
was
I
actually a
thought,
trireme. So this was a
oh,
trireme. There was a
really? Okay.
Dromon here, and then there was another Dromon. I hadn't upgraded that one yet. I had literally just got Dromons like a few turns ago.
But I was
Uh,
seeing the borders,
the anchor, maybe it was a
yeah,
Dromon. I'm pretty
that it
sure it
was
was a trireme. I don't know. We can go back
maybe
and read.
that it was. I
Yeah.
saw that it was an anchored
Yeah, it was an
ship.
anchored ship because I was connecting here, so that because all
Yes.
my forces were in the north,
Hmm.
they were clearing the Danes.
Yeah, yeah, I was commenting on that, but I was
Yeah,
seeing your ship, but somehow, despite seeing the
you just went
range
for it.
of
Yeah,
anchoring, I thought that if the tide was in the fog for you, maybe you wouldn't see that I was anchoring a ship, which is stupid.
despite
I had your
you saw
anchoring
my yeah.
movement
I know.
displayed on my screen, but
Yeah, no,
but
no
I
worries.
I hoped that
Yeah, you hoped.
you wouldn't
No,
see it.
that's fair. I mean, I definitely was almost unprepared. I got cohorts literally the turn you attacked and
It was
upgraded.
right on time,
Yeah,
but
I
yeah,
upgraded all my
I was
swords as
surprised.
quickly as I could.
Mm,
I had scouted that you went longbow and pike, and was like, I have to go cohorts because I
yeah,
long
yeah, yeah.
like they deal really well with longbow and pike. I figured you were reading that I would go cataphract,
Hmm.
so you were
Hmm.
sort of pre countering.
Yeah, of
Um,
course. Well, we were mind gaming and counter mind gaming, but
yeah,
that was yeah, one of my stupid mistakes was the first one anyway, the first big one. I think you can discuss, let's say, choice of families and all that, but
yeah,
not reconsidering my plan, especially after saying Alcaraz plays this way, that way,
yeah.
and it doesn't change, and I made the same stuff. I came with the
No, it's all
plan.
right.
He
Yeah,
didn't apply, I didn't do it, and uh, and yeah, I doubled back on it because part of my hope with attacking your city in the south,
yeah. Down
I
here,
think it's Ipu.
the little
Uh,
rally was to distract my forces, right?
it was intended to be a kind of misdirection, right?
Yeah,
So maybe if I commit some Palton cavalries and kill some tribal units, I will
yeah.
not see that I'm anchoring a trireme in the north and
Yeah, no,
the
I definitely saw it and freaked out. I was like, I need to
yeah,
pull
yeah,
everything south. I barely had enough to hold here, but being able to remove that anchor, like, had you just anchored both ships in a way that I think you had the borders to be able to like, I did not have enough units to block everything,
I don't know.
and
It
kill the
was a
south. I
mess.
think. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I turned on the stupid and turned it down to 11, and
No,
that's
it's
what
okay.
happened. So
Like
that's
I definitely like. I mean, I
I
lost the
have a
city later on, right, to
I have
your
a full
troops.
smile. I have a full smile
Yeah,
seeing that. It was
yeah. I
it
mean,
was enjoyable.
I think
Don't worry.
this game taught me the value of border walls in your border cities. Like, there's a
Hmm.
reason I'm building walls here, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
a reason I'm building walls here. Because
Walls are
yeah,
good. They're not as
yeah,
good now because we had the Reaper nerf, so they're not quite as good
yeah.
as
But I mean,
they were.
they help you not lose a city in one turn. So
Yes, not getting your city down in one turn is definitely good. Yeah.
like, yeah, that adventure down here. Unfortunately, I had gotten an elephant from some event, and I was able to use
Mm-hmm.
it to push your guy out of the forest because otherwise I didn't have a way to get him out.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I haven't watched those
yeah,
turns again, but that's another thing I half asked because I could have made some treachery. I didn't have very good agents
yeah,
like skimmers and all that for yields. I mean, but I had
yeah,
some awesome hero. I had the 9
yeah,
courage hero,
yeah,
and I had like I think two 5 or 6 courage.
yep.
And I could definitely have done more with treachery on
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I feel like, especially with treachery now, like I definitely went all in on treachery towards the end because I was like, you are rushing Dromons out. I need to secure the sea. I
That
have a
was
very long
absolutely
reinforcement
terrifying.
line. Go ahead,
Mhm.
sorry.
That was absolutely terrifying. And
Yeah,
all right, okay, all my cities are half Earth now.
Yeah, because I burned a lot of gold on it because I was like, I need to
Mhm.
like I'm gonna slowly lose this if we trade four because you have a closer reinforcement line, like
Mhm.
mine just have a long way to go, and I knew if I lost control of the sea, everything fell apart very quickly.
I'm not
Uh,
sure because I was desperate, really. I think so. Okay, that's a free piece of advice because sometimes you despair when you
yeah,
when you take a big hit, but you have to realize that on the other side, I'm scrambling.
yes,
I, I'm sacrificing stuff. I'm making tough decisions too to be able
yeah,
to every turn when I rush out 4 Dromons, which I will almost certainly lose instantly,
yeah,
just to contest a little bit, and just to gain
yeah,
one more turn to prepare and all that. That's super costly. I still have to pay for this wood, this iron, this
yeah. What were
gold.
you preparing for there? What was your strategy here? Like, I was
Uh,
buying time for my Ishtar Point victory.
oh, the end. I was just full dump. I didn't think about victory point.
Yeah,
It's
but
that stupid.
what was it, putting away victory points? But what was your plan with the Droma? Like, I think,
Uh, Essentially, I wanted to. Uh, okay, my read was that I actually had a stronger army.
yeah, you did.
Not quite at that point, but from even a few turns before, because
You
one
you
point we were
definitely did.
mostly similar. You had like 15 Dromons to my 0.
Yeah,
So,
I have 18 ships right now to your four, and we're
mhm,
similar, which means you are stronger on land. Like,
yeah. So
let's see here.
essentially,
Yeah, I've got.
I was hoping. Okay, you were winning this game, right? So I was hoping for a mistake,
Mm,
and I wanted to try to engineer one,
yeah,
essentially by
inviting me to attack somewhere.
yeah, inviting you to attack somewhere where I could hopefully counterattack. It was
Yeah,
getting very hard because I could only guess that you had agents everywhere, and it became obvious at the end when you had treacheries
yeah.
everywhere. So you cannot really hide. I tried to hide my ships at one point
Yes, in
by
your cities.
getting out of no long before the
Ah,
fateful
the one
fight.
here that I found with my scout.
Uh, no, even before that, I was thinking that trying to park my ships out of my city's territory to put them out of vision of agents.
Ah, yeah.
But
I have
I still
scouts.
underestimated how many you had and how many the scouts that stay hidden. I
Yeah.
might suggest that scouts that come out of agent planting mission not be hidden.
I mean, honestly, they probably shouldn't be because it's like this is basically a permanent scout on the
Yes.
water that can't be removed, and you have no idea
Hmm.
it's there. Like especially now with the agent kickout mission, um,
Hmm.
it doesn't. I mean, the agent kickout mission will kill a scout if the scout is still applying the agent network. But once the scout has applied it, I don't really care
Hmm.
if you kick out the scout. Like I need to watch the front, right? Like
Yeah,
sure, seeing inside your city is nice, but like I'd rather keep scout on the front.
I
So
haven't really played. Well, yeah, you saw where my scouts were positioned at the
yeah,
end, and they were providing me as much vision
yeah,
as my agents. So, but
yeah,
I mean, once you've planted an agent, you should at least have to stay on a forest
yeah,
or
yeah,
keep
yeah.
on the
I
border or
agree.
something.
It shouldn't be
It's
permanently
reasonable.
invis
So,
because it's a little too strong, especially since
mm-hmm,
if we're giving counterplay against agents with move agent network and expose agent network,
mm-hmm,
um, like it should be a pain to get an agent into an enemy city, right? Like the
mm,
scout shouldn't just be able to, and like they've nerfed hopping from city to city, right? Like you used to be able
mm-hmm.
to just hop very
Yeah,
easily
yeah,
and agent everywhere. Like agents are incredibly powerful, but they should be more troublesome to get because like it is
yeah.
so like what I did with treachery and what you did with treachery as well. Like treachery is really hard because I guess you
Mm-hmm.
have to get scholarship to be able to even deal with it. I haven't actually played
Yeah. I
what
mean, it's
how
Persia.
exposing. Yeah,
I haven't tried with exposing, but
yeah,
okay, so it's just like my personal opinion, of course,
yeah,
and not the professional opinion or
yep,
whatever. And I haven't played with it, so
yeah. I
I
haven't
always
played either.
worry when people, let's say, theory craft from patch notes, and
Yes,
I should be under the same. I haven't played with it, but I feel you have one spy master and you have potentially many agents.
yes.
So there's an asymmetry there. Will you forego stealing research to to evict an agent, really, even if and you're not even sure you're doing
Oh,
anything when
it's
you
a
start
spy
the game.
master mission. Oh, I didn't
Yes.
realize it was a. Oh yeah, I guess it does require. Yeah, that is. I
So
mean,
it's
it's probably worth it if the agent is like destroying your city that you want to rush things out of, or like your
yeah,
inquiry
but
pump
I
or your
mean, you.
capital,
Mhm.
and you have a lot of science in your capital, and you want to kick the agent out. So I think it's worth it there situationally.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
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 you're
yeah.
not going to randomly try it in every city. I have played with that UI.
That's where I would have to try it, I guess, because
Yeah,
I think the 40% chance is a bit deceiving because even if it's move or expose, whatever the result,
yeah,
it's more successful than it looks, essentially.
yeah,
Uh, it's like 80% success.
yeah.
So if it's guaranteed, maybe it's worth it, but you potentially have many cities, so you're doing only that, and with three
No,
scouts,
no, yeah, it's better to steal research. Yeah,
it's
but I think
a bit hard.
the invisible scout makes it even not worth kicking out the agent because the scout just sits there,
Mhm.
right, and it's been sitting there all game, so it's like
Yeah,
not
yeah,
going to do
indeed.
anything.
Indeed, indeed. I haven't completely thought that through, but and to be fair, that's at least partly taste. I think I like the mind game aspect, trying
Yeah,
to lure people to hide my plans and stuff like that, and I'd like it to be a bit harder to get vision on your opponent, essentially.
yes, it is. I mean, it's
I-
better than it was, but it's still a
Mhm,
little, I would say, a little too easy to see what your opponent is doing, especially once you can get agents in and then
mhm.
just have the scout sit there forever, even if you lose the agent.
Yeah,
Um,
I think I realized fully when watching
yeah,
post game. Because during the game, I was assuming that you had that I had better vision, and it was true for let's say
90 turns.
the first half of the game, and a bit
Yeah,
later. Yes, I had agents, but once you reach the late game,
yeah,
it's kind of trivial, and your advantage doesn't the fact that you were first scouting, that you had scouts
doesn't matter.
infiltrating
Yeah,
deep, and all that. It doesn't yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything. And I think it's, I mean, it doesn't, it shouldn't be like early scouting, only scouting, and provide you an advantage that lasts whole game, of course. But
yeah,
yeah, I think it should be rewarded a bit more to work on that, let's say.
yeah. Let's talk laws. You went,
Oh
and
yeah,
I cannot get this law tool to show. I'm sorry. I have no idea how to get it reliably to show. Oh, there we go. So we both ended up with exploration, which I think makes sense given the water on the map. Although
hmm
epics, considering the number of units we killed, would have been really good.
yeah.
Probably. I mean, I think I've flipped personally from exploration to epics.
I don't know. I know that for a long time I played epics only. When
Yeah,
exploration was changed with the movement on river, which I value a lot more than on sea. Well, late in the game, it's good to be able to move your
yeah.
scout on sea, or if you have islands and ancient ruins and
It's
stuff
great
like
for
that.
fog busting. Honestly, like that was the biggest thing that I
Mhm.
used these scouts for. Like I would
Yeah.
have them go against go before my ships, and they bust fog, which then gives my ships more movement.
Mhm.
And if you want
But
to waste time killing my scout, then that's an attack you're not using against my ships. So
yeah, but I was seeing it for a long time and I never attacked it. So
yeah, I know. I was like, I have scouts just swimming around, and you're like, okay, that's cool. Hi, scout. How's it going?
yeah,
So
yeah, exactly. And I considered attacking it every turn because,
yeah,
of course, it irritated me, of course, but I didn't. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That was a cheeky scout for sure.
yeah. And then law-wise, I guess slavery, vassalage, constitution, serfdom, monotheism, legal code, orthodoxy, professional army, holy war, and trade league against my laws, which I think were exploration, slavery, vassalage, constitution, serfdom, monotheism, legal code, orthodoxy, professional army, and then engineering and iconography, which you didn't have. Holy War. So we
Mhm.
mostly agreed except for trade league versus autarky.
And did I pick slavery as well? I
You
don't
did have
remember.
slavery as well, yeah.
Yeah, okay, but I picked it very late, I think.
You went freedom for a long time. Okay.
No, I went no low for a long time.
Oh, no law? What?
Yeah, I hadn't
Yeah,
picked.
you were at two laws for a long time, and then you went to seven.
Yes,
What? Tell
that's
me
my
what happened
second
there.
note. That's my second note. So essentially, okay, not everyone has pyramids, alcaras.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
know.
main
Yeah,
always
yeah.
thing. So
Egypt privilege. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. I had so laws are expensive, it turns out, when you
Yeah,
need 400 civics to adopt them.
yeah,
And the way I looked at it was essentially, I mean, some laws are just great. You want them as early as possible, and
yes.
you adopt them immediately. You
Serfdom,
save
hello.
civics for them, serfdom,
Constitution,
constitution.
monotheism.
Okay, definitely. So I agree with that, obviously. But
Yeah.
thing is that I wanted to go for a timing, so I ignored part of the tech tree for a long time.
Mm,
And I allowed myself to do that because I thought that I could run through those texts very quickly when I needed to.
I
So
see.
I ignored divination and aristocracy for a very long time. I
Wow.
ignored,
So you didn't have
um,
sovereignty, which meant you didn't have bonus civics, which is
yep,
an
I
amazing card.
ignored sovereignty for a very long time. I finally went, I think, rhetoric when I wanted metaphysics for
Yeah,
cartography.
yeah.
But originally, the first part of the tech tree, I cut it like very pared down teching.
Just for infantry
Uh,
square.
yeah, I went Portcullis, and I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't even sure I would go Portcullis. And after that, I wanted to go toward Podkin actually. I
Bodkin,
wanted
okay.
even
Longbows.
more than infantry square. Of course, pikemen are cool when you're playing against alcaras, but
Mm-hmm.
it might surprise you. That's first thing. And I wanted to play ranged Persia.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, One of the things that might be underrated with Persia is minus 20% cost on ranged units,
Yeah.
which is still very cool and has good synergy with hunters, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So, so I wanted to go with that. I was thinking if I can strike first, I should be able to do cool thing. And to be fair, I had awesome longbows, which
Yeah,
weren't
the
very
longbows were
effective at the beginning,
terrifying.
but yeah, I ended up with quite
Why
an
did you put
army of.
horse paint on so many longbows? Like, do your just longbows not like horses? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, yeah, I picked all where I could, and well,
Kind of disturbing,
you
actually.
had some cataphracts, but we didn't do much with it. But yeah, I was in full. I, I was fighting you essentially, and I think I
Yeah,
tend to do that. I tend to play the player
it's
as much
terrifying
as.
that the cataphract still does 9 damage to it, despite it having horse paint and despite
I
it having
mean,
sentinel.
don't tell me you didn't know that cataphracts are disgusting.
I know, I know.
I
But I
mean,
couldn't land them. You blocked all possible ways to land. At some point, I was
mhm,
thinking I would have a cool landing here and put some swordsmen here and fortify them and wall you off and put a boat here and like put a swords. I think I had a clever plan to like cut your land off so you couldn't
mhm.
reinforce here, and then I would just kill this side of your army.
Oh yeah, I hadn't even considered that. Right.
Yeah, it's, I think I narrated in like turn 117. I'm like, oh, if I ever want to attack, but I don't want to attack because I'm just going for points victory. But it would be really cool to lock off his army like
Mm,
that. Because
mhm,
I think my theme for this game was I wanted to split your army as much as possible. That was the whole reason I bypassed this and went straight for this. It's like, I'm just going to
mhm.
ignore that because you're
Yeah,
stuck and you weren't
yeah.
stuck. But if I had positioned 2 ships here, you would have been stuck, or at least until
I,
your longbows killed the ships.
I guess
So
that's the theme of the game, really, because
yeah,
I put my army forward thinking I would attack, and then I didn't really want to go back. Essentially, I wanted to
yeah.
stay point
No, it was too many
firmly
orders to move
and
back. Yeah.
all that. And you went around my army, attacking in the north and all that,
Hmm.
which of course was always a threat when you get naval domination.
Yep.
And but trying to lure you in, which well, kind of worked. I'm happy to report. Was also a way to try to cut the forces you had sent on my
Yeah.
territory to pick them off.
Yep.
The island was kind of a trap because if I stay on the island, my troops there are at risk of being
Cut off.
cut off, and yours as well. I mean,
Yeah.
these 5 swords are not 5 swords that are fighting me at the moment. So
Yeah.
um,
But there are 5 swords
yeah,
that can go anywhere. So
yeah. Of course, you have naval
you've blocked
domination.
every single entrance.
Mhm.
And I don't think, I guess like the closest I could get, I don't know if I had a seaborne one that could kill the scout. I think it would
Yeah,
have been really hard to one shot that scout.
it's
And you
not
position.
prominent for a
Why didn't you
reason.
put the scout here? You're very careful in terms of where you place
Yeah.
things.
Um,
So
yeah, no, that was one very close thing as well. When you attacked the island and Comis, you
yeah,
zocked the naval movement,
yes.
and
I
you have
locked some
no.
ships in here.
Yeah, yeah.
Someone taught
There
me
were
about zocking things.
there were two ships between Aspadana and Comis,
Yeah.
preventing movements between the two, and two ships between Aspadana and Nishapur. I think it's in the south.
Yes, they were here.
And I could almost kill one of those ships.
Almost.
One hit point was left on it, and I replayed that turn or that fight. I attempted to adopt colonies because I was thinking that I could potentially buy a tile
Yeah.
uh, to have a naval tile. Of course, you cannot buy naval tiles.
Yeah, you can't buy
But
sea tiles
I was
even with
hoping so
scouts.
much. Yeah, I know. That's the first thing I modded in the game at the time, so I should know. But I tried swapping tiles between the two cities
Oh
because the
no.
city on top was still mine, but you
Yeah.
still can't buy tile even for swapping. So I was just
Ah.
super stubborn at that time. I tried all kind of stuff and combining anything, and yeah, so yeah, that was
Yeah.
very close because you very confidently moved your ships, but it was a 1 point
Yeah, I
affair.
don't think I realized how close it was.
Yeah, and I would have stuffed the island with longbows and peppered
Yeah, and then it would have been a
everything.
big problem. So
So
wow, I
that,
didn't realize how close that was. I definitely was like,
yeah,
there's no way he can kill this ship. But
there were several close call really.
yeah.
The timing first, the
Yeah,
Dromons and
three
the
turns
swords.
earlier, and this is a different problem for me.
Mm.
Because I don't have swords. And what do I do against longbows and and pikes with Kushites? So,
Oh yeah, but that was very well played on you, and I think I underestimated the Clerics Temple at the beginning. I
yeah.
caught up on that like turn 30, 40. I hadn't realized because I was harping on in my record
Yeah.
about alcaras probably suffering for others, and you were actually, but
Yeah, from not
that's not the
founding
reason.
cities. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But the temples are awesome, of course.
yeah, let's talk about the
Mm,
terrain here in the middle of the map. Like neither of us settled this city until I settled it very late, but like you could have imagined this is a nice river, right? Like if you border
mhm.
expand here, you've got
Yeah,
sea movement and you've got a kind of nice way that's much more defensible than this.
yeah.
I didn't
So,
consider it either. So, but I'm curious
mhm.
why you didn't consider it or what your thinking
So
was.
essentially, I wanted the. All right, there's a bit of delusion, and I wanted a novel movement. So, which is why I
Yeah.
wanted the northern one, because I thought I could link up or have a. I didn't know about the island at first, but
Hmm.
I thought with a single ship I could
Yeah.
bridge the corner essentially, and have movement. And I was counting on you, not scouting.
Mm.
And potentially not having seen this peninsula because I didn't see it immediately either.
Yeah.
And and I thought that maybe it wasn't immediately obvious that you could get the entire coastline from Justice City with the two miners,
Hmm.
and that I could make use of that. So since I hadn't seen because I went into the sea relatively late myself,
Yeah.
I hadn't seen the island until quite late and all that. So I was thinking that it would be a cool staging ground. I couldn't quite resist the two oars.
Hmm.
That's what happened there. The one in the bottom, I briefly considered, yeah, at Abu, making a city here to accelerate naval movement. But actually, I settled Gordium much later than you settled the
Yes.
equivalent
Because you
city on
went
the other
north.
side.
You got the
Yes,
marble. You got the wheat. I yeah.
yeah. I
So
got the maple, I got the wheat, and I kind of didn't want to declare on Scythians that were
yes,
occupying these sites at the
that
moment.
peace ambition.
Yeah, that was a stupid one. I don't know. I clicked a piece ambition with a schema,
Yeah.
but I did.
I don't like orders. Here, have two orders.
Yeah, but I only had like I think one or two units in the south, so
Yeah, so it
I
would have
was
hurt. It
playing
would
the
have hurt.
margin
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
for a long time, and I wasn't. I mean, they still ramp up, right? Even in normal
Yes.
tribes. After a
Yeah.
point, units don't cut it anymore. So,
Yeah,
uh,
absolutely.
but
Yeah. The sea was so important in this
yeah.
game, honestly. Like I was terrified of losing control of the sea, and like basically when you attacked, I went to full power Dromon building because I was like,
Yeah, yeah,
I need to get control of the sea. I'm building every single Dromon. I went very hard on lumber mills and just was like,
yeah. And I think you were more committed than me, and you identified that more. Actually, I think it was a you were frightened of the sea, and
yeah,
I should have been essentially
yeah. I mean,
because
I had lost a game to Frederick where I think he killed 16 of my ships with 20 of his, and the problem I think with the sea is as soon as you fall behind, it is almost impossible to catch up.
yeah, that's why I argued for the change to range
Yeah,
unit
yeah. But
damage on sea.
even then, like it,
I
like
mean, you're
you're,
still out of range.
yeah,
Drummond can perfectly anchor out of range
yep,
of that. But at least you cannot, you maybe can't really pillage everything and
yeah,
all that. I think it would be a little bit better. I thought of just giving a promotion available
yeah. No,
if you.
I like that change, but yeah, I definitely, yeah. This was just like I want to keep your eye focused here because I was like I am 2.2 years away from victory, or
Yeah,
I
me
think
too.
originally I was thinking five, that because that's why I have these
Hmm.
temples being or these holy sites being started because I was
Hmm.
like the holy sites will get me over, and then
It worked beautifully.
the Numidians gave me an opportunity to do an alliance, and I was like, oh, then I'll just settle this city. And then that
Hmm.
just happened the turn before Ishtar, and I was like, okay. And I settled this very carefully. I was terrified you were going to attack this, but you were keeping your troops here because you had to
Hmm.
protect against the landing, which is exactly why these ships were here. Because I was like, I
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
keep him worried about the landing so he doesn't come and attack the city. Because like you could have taken the city pretty easily if you wanted to, and I would have had a hard
Yeah,
time defending it because
but I
it
mean,
like this is a far like this terrain was terrible. Like, and anyone who built roads would have just built roads for the other person too.
yeah, yeah.
So I
No,
think the
it's
safest
awful.
thing would have been to connect here with like and use
Hmm.
this river and then like push borders here.
Yeah, but I
Um,
didn't dare. If I had been the first settling
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
border,
I think
probably I would have tried.
I should have done that though. Like because I was there early and just
Hmm.
aggressively came claim the center, and then you have like if this city is here early and defended, you can't really
Hmm.
settle this city very easily,
Yeah,
or you fight over this city. But I have a much better reinforcement line to this city because you have to
definitely.
manually walk through this terrible terrain.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it would have been a different game. So, but yeah, I was so far behind in settling that like
Yeah.
yeah. So
I even remember some of the turns that weren't. At one point, I staged an attack south of Abu,
across this
below
plane,
the
I was paranoid
velocity.
about this plane.
Because I mean, there's no tree, so you cannot have any
I
hidden
know I
stuff
had no vision.
there. And
But I would
I,
definitely move my scout out and then back in and be like, okay,
yeah,
nothing
all
there,
right,
nothing
you were
there,
doing the
nothing there,
same. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
nothing there.
That's
We're
makes
safe.
sense.
So,
But yeah, I think I tried that like 3 times during my turn. I said, all right, no, that's not the right move. I went for something else. But yeah.
yeah. Yeah. If there was a river flowing the other way, oh, yeah, exploration, that would
Oh
have been
yeah,
amazing.
definitely. Yeah,
Yeah. Anything
yeah,
else we should talk about in this game?
yeah. I'm not sure. Yeah, the laws. I wanted to come back on that.
Yeah.
So actually, I could have adopted 3 laws, I think, for a long time, but
Hmm.
it took some time to unlock them, and I wasn't very happy with the laws in question.
Yeah.
Since I was pushing for my tech for something else than Baltons, essentially,
Yeah.
for a long time, and it ended up not quite working. But I was thinking, all right, this map is huge.
It is
As
huge.
far
This
as I
was
remember, it
way
was
too
the
big
first map we started with
after the map change. Yeah. So
the
small,
new
small was very
small,
big. Yeah.
super big. So and that's something I should have adjusted on as well. When I realized the size of the map, I should have reconsidered the way I was thinking about timing.
Yeah.
There was no urgency in trying to threaten when I did essentially.
Yeah. It was a
And
very large map. Like I have 22 cities and you have 15, I think, or something.
mhm,
So
mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, definitely we are 17 and 17. You settled one or two, and the rest
yeah.
you stole, of
Yeah.
course. But
Thanks. So
but yeah, I was saying, all right, if I want mounted units, I want catapult archers. I don't only want Partons. So I'm
yeah.
not that interested in rushing to follows.
Yeah.
Uh, I want
No,
the
seven is definitely the sweet spot in terms of.
Mhm,
I mean, I love a cataphract archer rush,
mhm.
and like I feel like six cataphract archers or eight cataphract archers. are so powerful. Like imagine this invading force if you had anchored more aggressively and you had 6 cataphract archers here.
Yeah,
This city is
I,
dead.
I, I just
Like
couldn't anchor more aggressively.
no,
I
I
didn't
know.
have the orders, the force march. I couldn't do it.
That's true.
Yeah.
So you were already stretching as far as you could. I didn't realize
Mm,
that. Yeah, I didn't like swordsmen are not very good against cataphract archers, and pikemen are a long
mhm,
way away.
mhm.
So I
Yeah,
feel
but
yeah,
I thought essentially I wanted to go all in on, well,
yeah,
not quite all in on longbows and pikes,
yeah.
and I had chariots, and I thought my chariots could be
Routers.
just yeah, just routers, just clean up essentially,
Yeah,
and dealing the bulk of my damage with spikes and bows. And still, I had an equestrian queen, and I had those awesome
yeah,
officers and everything. And it's hard to resist a good saddle bomb cataphract archer. I mean, so
yeah. No,
and
I mean,
yeah,
especially since you had riders, like right, like the
hmm
longbow
hmm
pike strategy doesn't synergize really well with riders.
yeah, 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 sure,
So
yeah. Either you go full longbows and you go hunter, statesman,
yeah,
cleric, or you
yeah.
go cataphract archers with rider, statesman, cleric. I think.
I mean, cataphract archers are even good as hunters, though. Honestly, like, yeah,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
better as riders aggressively, but I don't
hmm
know. I'm curious with the hunter changes whether I'll swap out hunters, but like hunters are still really good because of
Yeah,
the
that
food.
depends. I mean, on
It depends on the map, right? Like if there's
the,
no,
the the way I played this game, it would have worked better with a statesman with the new hunters, because if you don't get the benefit from the pearls,
yeah,
this city is not especially
yeah,
striking
yeah.
with the
After the hunter changes, yeah. Like
if you
there was this
follow
city.
on,
This
yeah,
city
yeah,
was a great hunter city
yeah, of
down
course.
here.
But I
Um,
saw it super late,
yeah, I saw
so
it super late as well. Like, and it's very far away. This city's good as well, but they're very far
yeah.
away, right? Like, and like it's all old world is all about your snowball, right? Like you get
hmm
your
hmm
snowball rolling. And yeah, this statesman city here could done good things.
Yeah, and I think I did a good job with expansion.
Yeah,
Well, usually I'm good at that on the micro side, let's say, trying to lure unit away and
yeah,
getting the camp right in time with one hit point covering with my settlers, shit like that.
yeah,
Sorry, I shouldn't speak like that, but and yeah, it didn't work so bad until I made, I think I commented on that, a stupid
yeah.
mistake, which
Up
cost me
here,
unit, which got rewarded awesomely
yeah,
because I got
two warriors out of
I
or
got
two
my
slug.
units back essentially with all the promotions and all that, but
Yeah,
still I was super lucky.
yeah.
Uh,
So let's as the last topic, let's talk about ending. So you didn't see the Ishtar
I
Wonder
didn't
play. I
see
mean,
it.
you knew I
It
had
was
started Wonders on 110, right? So because I think you
yes,
remember like you I think you remember remember you said something on Discord. Oh wow, you're putting pressure on me now because you
yes,
just started a bunch of Wonders. So
yeah. And I became an idiot. I completely forgot. I didn't check that you were in range. I didn't even check how many weak cities you had with Ishtar,
yeah,
which is, well, I don't know how I would have played without that, because it was very hard with the pressure on the sea and
yeah. I mean,
the continuous skirmishing and all that, not to focus on that. And I think it completely got my attention. I
yeah,
had
that's what it was
plans
designed to
at
do.
various time to try to cancel your wonders, and I canceled the Colossus, I think, by
You did by
taking
taking this city, and then I think I remember you commenting you had this guy and you were going to go attack this worker, but then you forgot or something,
yeah, I
or
didn't, but anyway, it wasn't enough to like
it
kill
wasn't
the
enough to
one.
kill him. He would have taken 17. So
But I mean, I could have focused on the lighthouse as well. It was a
yeah,
kind of
yeah, you could have forced marched a
lower
ship as a
angle.
zealot. I think
Hmm
like the range on your ships is insane. Like this is a
Yeah,
normal range.
yeah, yeah.
This is no force march, right? Like
hmm
look at this ship. Like this ship right here can go all the way here because you're a zealot.
hmm
Oh, and it has maneuvers. So it can get all the way over here. So it's not very far to force march. There's a reason I have a ship protecting it because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
That's
I was
a good.
I was paranoid at the end. I was like, how do I prevent ways of losing? Like,
No, but I got blindsided essentially. I think regarding the victory point, I
man,
was
that
so focused on, let's say, not losing,
yeah,
but I didn't see you winning. Um, I'm
fair.
not sure I could have done much, to be fair.
I don't know either. This was definitely undefended for a while, so you could have definitely canceled this. Um,
Mhm.
but um, I mean, I would have
No,
killed your attack
I,
later
I I
and
think on the Wonder play, the tragic thing is that I could have done that to you,
build it
where
earlier yourself.
I had like 2,500
Yeah.
stone bank, something like that, when you were selling it. And I could definitely have done that, and I considered it briefly and didn't. And that was criminal, essentially. I
Yeah,
should
I
have.
mean, I think on turn 110, I had just got back from travel, and that was the turn I think I abdicated my Orator, if I remember right. Abdicated to my Orator, and I was
Mhm,
like, yeah, no, I abdicated on turn 112. So turn 110, I was like, back from travel, and I was like, what is my path to victory in this game? I had
mhm.
just lost everything here, or like it felt horrible. I was like,
Not everything.
a
Not
lot, and I was
actually,
like,
it's terrible, but it's
I did not see a feasible way to break in. I was like, I'm gonna get control of the sea, and I have control of the sea, but I can't seem to break in. My whole
Mhm,
strategy at that point was, I want to lock these forces up here that you had, and just go around them and take your cities. And like at this point, if I take Samarkand and Parsa, you have no way back, essentially,
mhm.
because
No, but
you
that was the right way to look at it.
there's no way to recover from that.
Yeah.
But then you
I,
stop that, and I was like,
mhm,
okay, how am I going to? What is my next way of winning? And I was like, well, man, I it's going to be really hard to break into this. He's
mhm,
got superior military production from compared to me because I only had two cities that were decent, three cities.
mhm,
These three, one, two, three. No one else has any decent training. Wasset is 36, but that's only because it's running a council. Um, Amunia also only because it has a council. Like there's no real training here, and I have a warlike leader, and I have monasteries. But like apart from like, and council is giving 16. Like three cities with training on a map this huge, I definitely underbuilt training. You had at least five, I think, that
mhm,
were like
mhm.
decent training production cities. I'm like,
Yeah.
I cannot win an extended war. You will
Y-
eventually outproduce me, like if we
Yeah.
keep fighting,
Yeah,
especially on your side of the map because your units are closer.
your
Like you can,
monasteries are awesome. The iconography,
yeah.
I think I
Oh,
didn't quite realize what it did
it's so
before,
good.
but it's yeah, it's monstrous.
I mean, those are cleric cities, right? So they get double from that. So like,
Hmm.
but yeah, like the double monastery in a city, suddenly the cleric city has 8 base training,
Yeah.
and this city does not have any. Like I probably should have. I got it pretty late, but like I should have built a Christian monastery here, right? Like for sure.
Hmm.
I didn't build one. But yeah. And I guess cleric cities are decent military production cities as well with
Yeah.
late. Clerics are so versatile, I feel like. So
As are just super strong. Like
yeah.
with the right laws or theologies, you can
Yeah.
get many bonuses on religious building, and they're all doubled. So
Yeah. I
that's
feel that really should be tuned down to 150 because 200 is a little too much, I want to say. So
mm. Yeah, but yeah, there are discussions ongoing, but
yeah. Yeah,
not
no,
sure. Look,
I understand.
we discussed for FFA the basic effect, right? Founding a religion and founding.
Yes.
It's
Yep.
very thematic, and it's
Yeah, I
fine in
mean,
a way. It guarantees for players who are maybe not that forward planning and all that, they
yeah.
can still play with religion and all that. So there's plenty good with that. But if you play in an FFA, 4 people will have clerics and 4 people won't,
Right.
or something like
So
that, and it shuts you off from religion. So it's also not that good for balance. And I don't know if
yeah.
that's something we want to customize with competitive mode. So
Yeah,
it's
I
a
don't
bit
know. It would
tough
definitely.
balancing clerics. So yeah.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see it does not found a religion.
Mhm.
But then it becomes an insane race, and you feel horrible at picking clerics if you didn't get a religion. So I don't know if I would like that,
Yeah,
just because
yeah, yeah.
it's just so much downside.
It's not an easy problem, definitely.
Yeah, but I definitely feel like 200 to 150 would be a good adjustment because doubling is double, like just like hunter doubling was too much, honestly.
Mhm.
Um, even I even think now after the changes, like it's still too strong to double. It would have been better at 150 just because it reduces variance. Because suddenly, like the city is producing so much food.
Yeah,
Um,
but
like
I
the
mean,
city's
food
producing.
is not as valuable as
Sure,
many
sure,
other
sure, sure.
resources, and
But yeah,
growth is not like you'll be making conscript. I think I'm
that's true.
despairing enough to be making a conscript at the end of the
Yeah,
game. And
Yeah, and
so
I
yeah,
feel bad about Tus. I didn't realize it was an autonomous city until
it was
after
awful.
watching. I had no idea because I didn't realize. I was just very confused because I was like,
Mhm.
"What are you doing in Tus?" I had an agent in there a while. I was like, "What the hell are you? Why are you? What? Like and like, why aren't you rushing out of this and building Dromons?" Because I was like, maybe they spawn here, but I'm pretty sure they should spawn in the bigger sea, right? I was
Ah,
paranoid to not try where it would
yeah.
spawn because I built a harbor here because like I'm not taking any chances. I want all my ships on
Mhm.
this side because yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
just was a sad city.
but then
So
it was like
trying to
it's just doing
contain.
random stuff. I'm like, what is No
Mhm.
Legs doing? And then I watched later. I'm like, oh, it was autonomous for like the last 80 years. Okay, cool.
Yes.
The people of Tuss are just living the good life, having a good time, not caring about Persia burning.
Yeah, I've made comments in the in design meeting about autonomous city, and
Yeah.
I'll check which event happened and
And
if
then you never
something
founded this
was
city site. What? Like, why not?
essentially because it was small. I think
It's got good
uh,
mines though,
I was
or quarries.
vaguely thinking about minoring it. Yeah, but when we came at that point, essentially, we were starting to fight.
Ah, so
And
no tempo.
I didn't really have the orders. I didn't really want to
Tempo.
rush a settler
Yeah.
there. And I was thinking maybe I'll produce a settler from the Hunter City bottom,
Yeah.
which has awesome growth and something like
Yeah.
that. But it basically fell by the wayside. I
Yeah.
actually stopped working on my economy for maybe 10
Yes.
turns when we were fighting, and I think that was a mistake actually,
It almost always is a mistake to abandon your economy unless
because
you are winning the game from abandoning
yes,
your economy.
you think? Yeah, I felt really
Like
under
it
pressure, but in the end, I made many stupid moves with my orders, like zocking your fleet. I didn't even comment on that, but well, it felt awesome. I don't regret trying
it
this.
was an amazing play except for and I would have been trapped if I hadn't had reinforcement ships coming. So,
Without reinforcement, you would have been trapped.
yes.
Okay,
I
well,
needed
that's not
reinforcements to break
so
out.
bad. But I knew you had reinforcement.
You
I
knew I
could
had
see you had
reinforcements in which
big
case
Romans coming up
like
that
it
you
would have
had to
been
handle.
better. I think Frederick suggested in comments like walling here
Yeah, but
or
that's
something.
definitely right. Yes, that's where
And
I was
like I have
positioned.
a really hard time or even walling here, so I
Mhm,
have to come very close to attack and all these archers, and it becomes a very big problem for me to break in. And I can't just go around because then your ships come attack my ships. Like,
mhm.
I mean, I would still try to go around, but like it becomes very risky, and you can kill the anchored ships, and it's all very fragile.
Yep, yep. And even
Um,
if you attacked on a front of three ships, let's say, even
yeah,
if it's kind of
I
three or
can't
something
attack
like
into
that,
this.
you
Yeah,
cannot kill more. So
well,
yeah.
I can't attack into this just because you're going to have longbows everywhere, which means suddenly
Mhm.
you actually have more ships than I do. Um, Like your longbows were terrifying. I can't under.
That was a silly move, but yeah. But my longbows were really just blinking. Like I had
I know,
awesome
but like
units.
they
Well,
are
this
still.
one is a warden, so it's a bit special. But
Yeah,
I had all those longbows, eagle eye marksmen,
yeah,
and they were blinking for three damage.
and sentinel on a lot of them too. I think so.
Yeah, and Sentinel, and it was three damage. Without Sentinel, I think I have a cleric one somewhere. It's
Yeah,
only two damage, so that's really not much, let's say.
yeah, no,
Because
definitely. I mean, I think the change that reduces the land to sea thing for ranged units and just makes it one distant further is good because it's minus instead of
yeah,
minus 50, it's minus 20. So that's
not
way better.
not sure it will be enough
No, I
to
mean, and I don't
reach
think it
that distance,
necessarily.
but
Yeah,
yeah, it should help a little bit.
yeah, I don't think it necessarily should be enough. But
Mhm.
like, you still should have ships to win a ship battle. You can't just defend
Yeah.
entirely with longbows. You can definitely harass and like zone. But yeah, yeah. I mean,
But I
had you
was.
walled here, it would have been very challenging. And like, you could even walled
Mhm,
here, right? Like one,
mhm.
two, three, four, five, six, seven. This
Yeah,
is a 7 tile wall. You have longbows here. It becomes very hard for me to. You can even, if you want to be clever, you can anchor a ship and put longbows on this side, and
sure.
then I can't break in because
Mhm.
like you've got longbows and I don't have longbows. I only
Yeah.
have Kushites, and Kushites do not have the range longbows do.
Mhm.
And this becomes a big problem. And then I start thinking about how do I get through here or something?
Yeah,
Because
I think I have a hard time thinking, let's say, conservatively.
yeah,
Thinking, okay, I'm not that threatened. I don't really need to attack. I need to conserve what I have to be able to only
I've
act when
definitely
it's
lost.
necessary.
Yeah, I've lost games attacking. I think by the recent game against Frederick, game 7, I lost that game by attacking. um,
hmm
and I just threw my army away. And it would have been better to fall back to a more defensive position. And also, I lost to not getting cataphracts and getting everything except for cataphracts early.
hmm
But yeah, you can definitely lose games to attacking. Of course, you can also win games by attacking. And
hmm
going back to like the stopping your economy, if you're
Yeah.
stopping your economy more than 3 turns, something has gone horribly wrong. Because you should
Okay.
only
Yeah,
really
yeah,
stop your economy when you're like, I'm going all in on an attack. I'm going to decapitate his capital, and he's not going to be able to take it back, which means I should be able
yeah.
to win the game. That's fine to stop your economy, but like
Yeah. And I mean
I've
the
lost
one.
games where I've stopped my economies for like 10, 15 turns, and then eventually everything slows. Like you just get crushed because
Yeah,
improvements.
it just decays. And I mean, like the wonders.
Yeah.
Really, I had a huge stockpile. I could have started 2 wonders or three
Yep.
wonders, easily denied the Ishtar, something like that. Which
Yeah.
I'm now realizing that if you can deny the Ishtar, pick the Ishtar.
Yeah.
Uh,
Ishtar denial
Even
is
if it doesn't
incredible.
win you the game, it prevents your opponent from doing so with
The
it.
the other thing that I think is so powerful about Ishtar is it makes all your weak cities you can rush anywhere, which is
hmm
really valuable, especially for like frontline cities. Suddenly you can rush into the frontline city.
hmm
Like that's powerful.
Yeah,
You founded
definitely.
a new city and you can rush. That's super strong. Um, like you can
I was
suddenly
just
rush.
thinking
Yeah,
just VPs. Just at
VPs
one
as well, like raw
we have a
points.
standoff, we'll win with VPs. And I
Yeah,
still had this stockpile that I wasn't using. And I mean, even if I'm not pushing full development, like because I had many workers and making improvements everywhere. I mean, if I'm
yeah,
starting 2 wonders, that's
yeah.
moving a worker, starting a wonder,
It's
moving a
not a lot
worker,
of orders.
4 orders. I can afford 4 orders.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I think it's just
yeah.
like the piece of advice that stuck with me from a long time ago, actually, from StarCraft, but I
hmm
think translates to any strategy game is just know your win condition, right? Like, how are you going to win? Are you
Yeah.
going to win
And
through killing your opponent's enemy? Are you going to win through points?
yeah. That's
Um,
why I'm not so good.
no,
Yes.
no, it's okay, but like it's so important to think about like what your win condition is
hmm
and to constantly reevaluate and be like, ask yourself, is my win condition still working? Like I thought my win condition was invade here, take out this city,
Mhm.
wait for your worker to finish the wonder, then take this and then attack this city and be like, okay, now what are you going to do? No legs. All your army is over here, but I've got Samarkand and Parsa, and I've got the Circus Maximus. But
Oh,
instead, like, yeah, and I thought that would have been a glorious victory. And I was
oh,
somewhat worried you were going to march here, but I was like, this land sucks. Like, you're not going to be able to march
yeah,
across
I
this
mean,
land.
it's tough to reevaluate because
Yeah,
I kind of came in with a plan. I wanted to go with the timing. I wanted to
yeah,
go with this kind of units, and I saw that you weren't. I kind of saw that you weren't going for cataphract. That you had Dromons before having
yeah. I mean, my
like
timing was I
units and all that, and I should have reevaluated, right? It doesn't mean
that's the
that
hardest thing though, right?
I
Because you get
would have
stuck
killed
into
that, but I didn't. Yeah.
it's the hardest thing because you get stuck into what you were doing. My plan was swords and Kushites, and I had a lot of Kushites and swords that I threw away
hmm
here because I didn't
Wow.
didn't reevaluate if your troops could move. I didn't even think these troops could move. Even
Yeah,
though I
I
knew you
mean.
had, I didn't know
Mhm.
this connection was going to happen. I'm still not entirely clear how the border pop works, right? Like, walk me through this. So,
All
like,
right. So the borders of Aspadana are as they were essentially.
yeah,
That didn't change much.
yeah,
So when commis before I got the minor, right?
mm-hmm.
I had the tile where you have
These
your
two, right?
no, these 2 tiles weren't in my territory.
Oh, it was just
The
to here
territory of the city was stopping
on
before
the
the
ore.
mine, and there was just a mine, like protruding with the ore. Okay.
Okay, so your
Um,
borders were basically like so, right? So this tile, this tile, this tile is within borders, and these
uh,
tiles are without. Let me
yeah,
actually find the
I
turn.
didn't have.
Should
Yeah,
probably make this red.
I'm a border geek essentially. I
Yeah,
built
explain
OCC
this. So
for
here,
one year.
let me first tell you my naive interpretation of what I thought was going to happen,
Mhm.
and then you can tell me why it's wrong. So I thought it's a specialist, so it's going to
Yeah,
grab one tile around. So it's going to grab these tiles,
yeah. So
and
that's all
then
correct.
that's it because this is 2 tiles away, so it won't collapse. I think you
No,
need one tile distance to collapse.
so not quite. So maybe you pick an
Orange,
additional color.
blue,
Let's say yeah, blue, blue.
blue.
Okay.
Okay.
So when you own 2 land tiles adjacent to a water tile,
Ah,
you
this
get
rule.
the water tile. So you get the tile top.
Oh my god, because you have these two. Oh, it's that app. Oh my, I forgot about that rule.
All right, so yeah, I'll get the one that is adjacent to
which
both
means you get
archer.
this and this.
Yeah, the one that is adjacent to the archer and
This one as
the
well.
cataphract.
So what's the rule
Uh,
when you have two land tiles?
uh, yes, so I think okay. I'm not entirely sure, so don't put
Yeah,
a circle there yet. I
that's
think
correct though. I'm looking at the game, and
I think
those are the tiles you had.
if you own all the land tiles that are adjacent to a water tile, you get it.
Yeah.
So all or at least two is the rule, I think.
Okay.
So I also get the one that is adjacent to both the archer and the cataphract archers north.
This one?
Yes,
Are you sure?
I'm quite sure. Yes,
Yeah. Okay. That yeah,
and
because it's collapsing.
yeah, and then we will have the rest. Then there's collapsing. So maybe pick another color, the yellow maybe.
Sure, we can do pink. Oops.
Yeah. So I get the long tile between the white circle and the one where there's an
There.
archer.
Yeah.
I get the long tile, and from there I get the water tile as well. From the water tile, I get the last long tile because it's
Yeah.
now
This is
between the
distance of
pink
one.
and the
Yep.
other one. So I get essentially all the coastal water
Yep.
all around, and
Yeah.
then
Then this is a distance of one.
then these
So
two are squished between two tiles in my border, and I get them for
yeah.
free.
Okay, that explains that. I totally did not see that, and I forgot about the rule of spread
Mhm.
extends to all water tiles with two or more owned land
Well,
tiles.
actually, the symmetry is very clear on the other side. You can see that I
Yeah.
got all the coastal
Yep.
sea as well.
Yeah, it's basically the same expansion. So it was even there. I just didn't look, and yeah. Wow, that is super duper impressive. So amazing.
Yeah, and I think
Um,
we are missing two because the hills in the south would be
yeah,
switched.
I don't care
And
about the non-water
I
tiles.
get
So
more. Oh, okay.
I just
But
care
yeah,
about the water tiles. But yeah, you're right that we do have those hills.
I
I will stop that one there and then go back to the game here. Sorry.
no
Um,
problem. But I'm a tile nerd. I don't know how
no,
many times I explained our predicted border expansion on stream. So
yeah, no, that was amazing. So yeah, and that enabled that movement, which I honestly can say I did not fully understand until now. So thank you for that explanation.
but really, I think it's a good thing to know.
Yeah,
If you can like use that to speed up your expansion, and it becomes intuitive relatively quickly. Actually, if you try to work it out through a few examples, that'll be
yeah,
a new trick.
yeah, definitely. Cool. Yeah, and then you collapse there, and then yeah, and then I think the fact that the rules just keep repeating until there's nothing else to. I mean, I love how deterministic the border expansion is, but
Mhm.
it definitely is. Most of the time, it's intuitive. You're like, okay, I build a specialist here, and I know I'll grab this tile, right? I build a specialist here, and I know I'll grab this tile, and then there's only one tile in between, so I grab it, right? So easy. With water, where it's tiles on the water, right, where you have,
Mhm.
I guess, adjacent to two tiles that you own water wise. I mean, it
Yeah,
makes sense, right? Like,
there are
but
still a few cases when you have like mountains and water and
yep,
impassable tiles don't count in the requirement and whatever. Like don't
yeah,
fully have it sometimes, but yeah,
yeah,
OCC for a long time was a lot about that. About gaining
yeah,
minor cities with marginal play. So yeah.
yeah. Cool. Anything else we should discuss now that we've gone over victory conditions and border expansion and
Oh, I think
yeah,
we've been talking for 2 hours,
a
so
little
we
over an hour. So it's not quite
probably
2 hours.
all
So
right. Okay. Uh,
cool.
Well, I don't know. I think I'm happy with the game with mistakes. I
Yeah,
think
I mean,
it's fair to
it
say we
was,
both made a few. I made a few more, of course, but it creates a dynamics, an exchange back and forth, and reversals, and which I found very enjoyable. It's a bit disheartening when you think you're winning or you're
and then
making
boom.
your move and it doesn't work, but I think it's worth it in the end. I'm very happy that I played this game
Yeah,
and that we went through it and
yeah,
yeah, I hope
Yeah.
it will be interesting to watch as well, despite my long ramblings and accent. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I've heard positive feedback from folks. I think folks really enjoyed the naval combat and the back and forth as well. And just like there was a lot of like even later on, like you capture the city, cancel the Colossus. There were threats, and I think the thing I love about cloud games where both sides are visible is
Hmm.
the viewer knows what's going on, right? They see what's
Yeah.
both sides, but they
Yeah.
know that one, oh my god, no legs doesn't know about X, or holy shit, Alcaras has no idea what's about to happen in a turn. Like
Yes.
no legs are preparing for an attack, and Alcaraz is like, how do I get my economy to
Yes.
like I'm
Yes.
not
Yes.
even looking over there, right? And then like I move a scout and I'm like, oh shit.
Uh-huh. But that's
So
great. I love the format when watching
yeah,
you playing against Frederick and all
yeah,
that, and it's a different experience having played the game,
yeah,
and I knew I was going to get set up. Essentially, I was going against the doctrine exploit from the
yeah. I
beginning,
mean
and
that was super broken. So
I kind of wanted to. I don't know. It's super strange as well to see the game afterward, and you see yourself say ranting about something, having an obvious view about whatever's going to happen. Say, but you're so stupid. Whatever.
but
That's
that's it's also the best way to learn, right? Like
that's
I
awesome. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I enjoy it.
yeah.
I
I
have
mean,
thankfully I have fun looking at that. But yeah.
yeah. No, I think I posted an FFA that lasted from like June to January or something, and I remember
Mm.
watching the early turns, and I'm like, oh my god, I am so bad at this game.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing, man? Like, this is wrong.
Mm.
And of course, the game has changed quite a bit, right? Clerics were not
Yeah,
really
of
a
course.
thing a year ago, and like
Oh yeah.
orators are getting tuned down. And I'm sure there's new emergent strategies that we haven't discovered yet. That we'll discover in like 3 months from now. Be like, man, why didn't they think about this strategy or like this
Yeah.
science thing or whatever, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's
I'm
the beauty
thinking
of the
about
game.
new stuff, but usually I'm too lazy to try it in single player and perfect it. So
Yeah, it is a
hopefully
great game though. I think
I'll
in
have a
that
chance
like
to fail
I think it's a great game in
spectacularly.
that yeah, I think it's a great game in that like the design allows for that sort of emergent strategy development. Like I really doubt Soren thought about like the cleric orator strategy and like how that works.
Mhm.
And I'm
Mhm.
sure the doctrine thing was not intentional because it
Mhm.
got patched.
Yeah. I'm
So and
trying
like
timidly to explain, but so
yeah,
we'll see.
and I think it's a credit to the
Mhm.
Soren and the whole game design team in terms of that the components and fundamental mechanics of the game are so strong that they enable these emergent
Yeah.
strategies that
Yes.
are really fun for players to play with, discover, change, evolve, counter. So there's simple rules, right? Like the combat in this game is beautiful in terms of the tactical play. Like it's very
Mhm.
simple rules. It's you can understand it very simply, but then there's a lot of possibilities. You can do beautiful route chains. You can block things. What you did with Ship Zoc and Zone of Control was also a beautiful thing in terms of like you took the game
Oh,
rule and
would
applied it,
have been
and
so awesome if it worked.
no, it would have been like imagine how disheartening had I not had those reinforcement ships. Suddenly, my entire ships are captured and they can't attack, and your ships can't attack, and I just slowly whittle down, and like that would have been horrible. So
Yeah, I know. That's why I did it.
I know, I know. So
It looked like a
I guess
cool
the more of the
puzzle.
story is don't like clump your ships apart together like that. But then if you don't, they'll get picked off because they can get I don't know the safe way to
Yeah, I
transport a
mean,
large group of ships.
there's a
So
trade-off.
yeah,
Essentially, I have to think about it. But I think the Greek campaigns make you think about that because
yeah.
a lot of naval combat is about luck and promotions. So
Yes, it is incredibly
yeah.
promotion dependent. Cool. All right.
Mm.
Thank you. Really, really appreciate you taking the time to hop on and chat about the game for 90 minutes, almost 90 minutes. And again, thank you for the game. It was a great one. Thanks for your patience and thanks for agreeing to play against the Doctrine exploit and then playing with good fervor. And yeah, really enjoy it. I'm looking forward to playing again.
Yeah, thank you very much for the game again. And
Yep. All right.
as soon as I have mentally recovered, we'll play another one. I
Indeed.
hope.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
See you soon.
Bye bye.